it or not, it was 6 months ago today that the LA wildfires erupted. In this half hour, we'll talk with James Farr, my colleague and journalist, who has penned a powerful and provocative piece for the LA Progressive entitled "Half a Year Later. The Flames Are Gone, but So Is the Help. Altadena burned. Southern California Edison sparked it. The system lets us smolder." Before I get to James, let me just take you back 6 months ago and give you some sound of what was happening here in Southern California.
Of course, we are covering breaking news right now of the Palisades fire. Another fire breaking out right now. This one is being called the Eaton fire. We know that this is happening at Pinecrest. This is near Altadena. You can see the fire right there. LA County Fire. They're on the scene. Structure defense, they're saying, is being set up as flames are visible from the freeway. We do know that we have ground crews that are also en route. Take a look at some of these pictures right here. We know, again, that LA County is asking for a helicopter to help fight this fire. But again, you can see it. A lot of people are obviously watching this that are in the Altadena area. But again, this is at Eaton Canyon, at the Kinaloa Canyon area, a hiking trail. We know a lot of people hike in this area, David. So again, a lot of anxious nerves right now.
It's the worst possible news you can get because of so many resources are moved over to Pacific Palisades, and that's a desperate situation with so many homes going up in flames. What if this one continues to increase rapidly, and as we saw, they cannot get air support overhead? So that is a major catastrophe waiting to happen because they can't use any of their air assets to get on top of this fire, especially if this fire is in a place that's hard to get to on the ground. Then we have something that's going to exponentially make things far, far worse. But we're going to continue to watch the situation in Eaton Canyon.
I'm grateful to say that my colleague James Farr and his family, while they were evacuated 6 months ago, they did not lose their home, but so many of the persons who James knows and loves did, in fact, lose everything. So I guess the proverbial question is, does it feel like 6 months?
First of all, good morning, Mr. Smiley. Good morning, Tavis. No, it doesn't. It feels like a perpetual 24-hour cycle that hasn't stopped.
Yeah. When you say it feels like a perpetual 24-hour cycle, unpack that for me.
Meaning the last 6 months just seem like yesterday. Things are so different that they seem the same, right? Yes, we sleep. Yes, we do other things. We assume our lives normally, but then every day there's that reminder of what yesterday held, and it kind of takes you back into the moment. Like just listening to that sound, I see myself sitting on the couch watching that very news broadcast that you just played, and imagining what I was, or not imagining, reliving what I was experiencing in that moment.
What are those reminders? What are the things that trigger those memories?
Well, you realize that, as I wrote in that LA Progressive piece, that we got to save ourselves. We are on our own. I was waiting for an alert to come on my phone, or someone to tell me on the television, or someone to call me. It didn't happen. I was lucky, though. My family was lucky. The police came through our neighborhood and said, "Leave now." And I'm usually a why kind of person when it comes to police, right? I didn't hesitate. We made a haste and got out of there right away, only to find out that so many suffered such a great loss hours later.
We did a town hall, as you recall. You were there. You were in a part of it. We broadcast that town hall for the nation live. We did a town hall on the 100th day, almost a few weeks ago now, a couple months ago now. We went out to Altadena and took the station out there, the local station here in L.A. This program's heard across the nation. Of course, we took our local station out to Altadena and did a live remote broadcast from there. And I had the opportunity to drive around with James in advance. I went out early that day, left L.A. and drove out to Altadena earlier in the day so I could spend a couple hours just riding around with him and having him show me, and I could see for myself. And I've been in TV and radio for 30 plus years. It's what I've done for my entire career. And I've heard this line 1,000 times. I've used it probably 1,000 times, that the pictures just didn't do it justice. You had to see it up close. And James drove me around. We got out, we walked neighborhoods, and I got a chance to actually see. And at this point, some of the hazmat people were out. They were starting to do some of the cleanup, and so the process was beginning. But at that time, they still had not issued, as I recall, a single permit for rebuilding. What's happening or not happening, as it were? And I know on your program that we broadcast here on our station, Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, I don't know how you're doing it, man, but you're twisting a bunch of arms, because I see the list of people coming in to talk to you every week. Local elected officials, some of whom are trying to avoid these tough questions, but somehow you're squeezing their arms and you're getting them in the studio, which I appreciate. But that said, what's happening or not with the rebuild? What's happening with these permits? Are they being let? What's the story?
Absolutely. We are now 180 days, exactly 6 months since the event. The permit process has been very slow. Less than 20 have been issued to date at this point.
Less than 20 in 6 months.
In 6 months, right? The county needed to catch up to that process. Supervisor Barger introduced a motion a couple of weeks ago. At first, they were requiring folks to have to pay flat out for the fees for permits. The language in the new motion is asking that the cost of those fees be deferred, which is very problematic. It almost feels punitive to many of the residents that are already making both ends meet and scrimping and scraping, trying to exist and survive. And so this recovery process, Tavis, as many of us knew in this space, it wasn't going to be a quick solution. I mean, we're talking about years before something even gets close to normal.
Yep. Yeah. The supervisor that he referenced a moment ago, Catherine Barger, is actually she's the president at the moment of the L.A. County Board of Supervisors, and so Altadena is in L.A. County. For those listening across the country, we can't talk shorthand that way. So that's who Catherine Barger is. She's the president of the L.A. County Board of Supervisors, and that's the woman he referenced a moment ago who introduced this motion to reduce these fees or waive these fees. So you don't just have electeds on your show every week. You also talk to everyday people. I love tuning in every week to hear the everyday people that you talk to. Give me a sense of where people are now. They're clearly still displaced. Where are they? How are they making it? At our 4th anniversary party, as you know, we had everybody came to celebrate our 4th anniversary on Juneteenth. We had people bring food gift cards. We said we did a big promotion here in LA. I don't care if it's to a grocery store or to a restaurant, but so many people are still living in hotels and they don't have food. And so bring gift cards. We collected I was so grateful. Just that a couple of days later, we were in our staff room, our conference room, just counting the gift cards that people had brought. We collected a lot of gift cards that we distributed to these persons who've been displaced. But where are people? How are they making it?
Well, the history of our people, Tavis, is we make it with less in the first place, right? We take what's left over and make it into something. That's not something that's new. People are making it because they have to make it. Many are struggling, many are striving, and many are just kind of in limbo. But this idea that we're in this space of recovery is a farce. And I wish people would stop it. Knock it off. It's relief.
I'm about to ask, you went there, so I love you. I was about to ask you what word you would use instead of recovery. The word is relief. Tell me why.
Because relief triggers resources, right? You can't do anything, unfortunately, without money. Many people, certainly we've done good things at this station, and others have done great things with gift cards, and those are things that people need. That's a temporary fix. That's a little bit of relief, right? But when you're looking at being underinsured, right? When you're looking at the resources, and perhaps you settle with your insurance adjusters prematurely, right? Folks are in a space where they're not going to have enough capital to sustain this long, like where we are right now, will burn and last far longer than the flames. The pain of it, the singeing of it. And so people need resources. I think about Martin Gordon, elder who you met, who lost everything, right? In his 70-something-year-old mind, he's trying to figure out what's the next best move for him. Rebuilding, temporary housing, ADU, but all of that comes down to money.
When we come forward, speaking of money, I want to ask whether people are holding or whether they're selling. That's the ultimate question for many of us. Are they holding? Are they selling? We know they're crunched, no question about it. But I quoted my friend James Farr, referred to Altadena as the Black Wakanda, and said earlier in this program that we know there are two wealthy black enclaves in this country, Prince George's County in Maryland, and of course where I sit here, Ladera, Ladera Heights, View Park, Baldwin Hills, et cetera, the other wealthy black enclave, the two wealthiest in the country, frankly. But neither of them even had the high rate of black home ownership that they had in Altadena. So are people selling or are they holding? We, at my home station in LA, KBLA, have the one and only program that's done every week in Southern California, tracking the rebuild effort or lack thereof in Altadena. Only one media outlet in this city is holding people accountable every single week to the best interest of the African American residents of Altadena, and we are pleased to say that show is called Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, hosted by my colleague James Farr, who joins me in studio right now for a few more minutes, but he's the host of this program that tracks all of this stuff every single week. So if you're an Altadena fan or have family and friends in Altadena or just fascinated and want to know more about the story, just check out James Farr, Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, every single week for updates on what's happening and not. I mean, when we did that town hall, months ago now, I started with some opening remarks, as you recall, and I said the town hall then was really about just three questions. What has happened, what hasn't happened, and what needs to happen. That was it. And here we are, almost 200 days later now, asking those same questions. What has happened, what hasn't happened, what needs to happen. We'll get to that in a second here. But my earlier question, are people selling or are they holding?
That's a very binary question, Brother Tavis. And it's one that is a very individual situation, right? And I think folks outside of this local space need to allow folks that personal space to make that decision. Generational wealth may look different now for some families than it did, or the idea of it later. But to answer directly to your question, yes, people are selling. Some people won't have a choice but to sell. For some people, that may be the best decision that they need to make for their families. Others are trying to figure out, can they hold out? What does tomorrow look like? And so I would encourage the audience, the delegation, to allow people the space to make that very, very personal decision.
It is personal. But that said, though, how concerned are you? Just be transparent with me, as you always are. How concerned are you really, that Altadena will never look the way it once did? I'm thinking about New Orleans.
It's gone.
This weekend was the Essence Festival. I've been to New Orleans 1,000 times. I love NOLA. It's not the same NOLA that it was before Katrina.
No, it's gone. Yeah, it won't be the same. Yeah. And I think it's not my place, because I didn't lose my home, right? Yeah. My neighborhood is still standing. So it's not my place to feel and project what others should feel and project. But the idea of what was normal January 6th is a memory.
What has happened, what has not happened, what needs to happen. Our remaining question for James Farr, journalist. Again, a beautiful piece. In case you have not seen it, you should get it and read it. Where's it? I just had it here, James. Name of the piece.
It's in my head.
There it is. Half a year later, the flames are gone, but so is the help. Altadena burned. Southern California Edison sparked it. The system lets us smolder. No matter where you're listening in the country, just go to LA Progressive. Brilliant piece of work that Sharon and Dick, yes. Yeah, Sharon and Dick, I love that. Love them, and they do great work at the LA Progressive. That's where the piece can be found. Half a year later, the flames are gone, but so is the help, written by my colleague James Farr. All right, last 2.5 minutes I give to you. What has happened? What has not happened? What needs to happen? What has happened? What has not happened? And what needs to happen? Take it as you will.
Well, what has happened is we lost. And not just the folks in Altadena. I'm talking about collectively as a black community, right? We've lost. And this plays back into it wasn't a pop culture grab when I said that if Wakanda were a real place, Altadena would be one of its tribes, right? Mm-hmm. It truly is a place where everybody knows somebody that knows somebody who knows somebody, right? That is the connective tissue of it. That's what has happened. People have lost their homes. People have lost their possessions. People have lost their memories. People have lost so much. Let's go to what needs to happen, right? Sure. What needs to happen is the people who are in charge, right, our electeds, these high-ranking and high six-figure salary corporate executives in these suites need to do their damn jobs, at least one day, right? Now is the time for them to step up to that. What also needs to happen is people need relief. They need money. Yeah. They don't need any more shoes. They don't need any more waters, no more air purifiers. The gift cards work because they are a currency that they can spend while they're in a hotel. But people need resources in order to rebuild their homes.
in this moment, 6 months later, how, with all we've talked about in this half hour, how are you sustaining your hope given all that's not being done?
I'm learning something new through this process, Tavis. Before I used to scoff and laugh at folks that I thought were hope addicts, right? I'm learning the discipline of hope. I'm learning a new way to grab on to that. Like this is what Big Mama used to say about leaning on your faith, right? I've seen humanity in people. I've seen predatory behavior in people, but I recognize that what my agency is, that I have to be hopeful for an entire community, because there's not a day that goes by that someone isn't calling, emailing, texting, James, what do I do? Yeah. That's a lot to hold. These shoulders ain't that big.
Well, somebody said keep hope alive.
Yeah.
And that's what we are doing 6 months later, and will as long as we are black. James Farr, if you're in Southern California, will appear tonight at 7 p.m. LA time on Spectrum News 1 for another conversation. He has a busy day running around doing interviews because everybody's calling him about his assessment 6 months later. And why are they calling him? Because he's the host of the only program tracking Altadena every single week. That program is thankfully on this station. It is called Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. James, thanks for your work and witness for these months hosting this program. Thank you for holding people accountable every single week. And thank you for coming in to see me today.
Thank you for listening to Altadena After the Fire. If you found this episode meaningful, please share it to help spread awareness. To support those affected by the Eaton Fire, consider donating to the Brotherhood Crusade's Wildfire Relief Fund at brotherhoodcrusade.org. Your contributions provide essential resources like food, medicine, and housing assistance to families in need. If you have updated information or a first-hand story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Contact details are in the show notes. Altadena After the Fire is an Urban One podcast. Executive producer and host, Kobe Tyner. Assistant producer, Jahi Whitehead. Director of podcasting, Dre Smith. Special thanks to the Urban One Cares team and our founder, Kathy Hughes. Thank you for tuning in. See you next time.